Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Coffee and Ketchup podcast, episode 12. I got it wrong last time. I got it right this time.
Yes.
Episode 12A, with your host, Megan McGrath, and
Evangeline Scov. Hi. Don't know why I said it in that voice. Hi, everybody. We're a little bit tired and loopy today, so this is going to be an episode.
Yeah. So this episode, we're talking about exam stress because,
Woo!
well, there's nothing we can do to reduce it because the exams are still there. So we might as well just bitch about it for an hour and a half.
Basically, that is the motto here. What are you drinking today, Megan?
I'm not drinking anything.
This podcast
I forgot the concept.
severe lack of coffee. Oh God.
Coffee. I forgot the concept of the podcast.
That's okay. It's fine. I actually have coffee today for once, finally.
I've disappointed you.
I have a hazelnut mocha cappuccino, which is quite nice. It's instant. It's not like some fancy one I made myself, but it's still good.
Some of those instant ones are like damn good.
And this
I like the
mocha.
frothiness. I don't know how they make the frothiness on it, but it's good because I've got a steamer on my espresso machine, but it is very loud and it kind of sounds like someone's being murdered in here, so I don't use it.
Oh, I have a trick for the loud steamer because mine does the same thing. You gotta kind of bubble it up at the very top of the milk, so like lift it up just slightly, and then once it gets a little bit thicker, the noise kind of stops.
Oh, I gotta try that because I've done it a few times where like I don't use it to heat up the milk as you like traditionally would in a cafe or something. In case you didn't know, I was a shitty barista for 4 months. No one ever trained me. I apologize to anyone who ordered coffee from me. But to be fair, I only ever worked from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. So you really shouldn't have been expecting good coffee from an evening bistro. But anyway, yeah, I like microwave my milk while I'm in the kitchen, and then I do all the coffee stuff in my room because my espresso maker's in my room. But I will occasionally like froth the milk if I, want frothy, thicker milk. But yeah, I can't get the great froth on it with this machine. I can at home with like my normal machine. I think it might be because I usually have like the espresso and the hot chocolate powder and everything else mixed up into it already. I'm not just frothing milk in its own, frothing container. And then
Yeah, you
pouring
can't
it in
froth
coffee.
milk like that. It doesn't work.
No. I mean, it slightly works. It, makes it decent, but I can't I don't have a container, especially for frothing milk, and I can't really I can froth it, I suppose, before I put the espresso and the coffee powder in. I mean the hot chocolate powder in, but it's not entirely frothy. I don't know. I just miss my old espresso machine at home. Or I just miss being able to use my espresso machine in a kitchen and not having to worry that I'm waking people up or something. Even though I only ever use the frother in the middle of the day where everyone really should be awake. But then again, in the middle of the day when I really should be awake, I get pissed when people are making loud noises because I'm sleeping, goddammit.
I mean, that's fair. That is fair. But you know what I started doing with, oh my God, this is amazing. So I buy these different like vegan milks. I buy this barista one, which it's either almond or coconut, depending on what they have in the shop that day. They're really good and they foam up like really well. But I get almond milk as well, which doesn't really foam up. Like it does a little bit. But like the tiny bit, like with an instant coffee, like that amount of foaming up. But I wanted hot chocolate one day. So I was like, well, I'm too lazy to make it properly. And I don't own a microwave because I don't know if you remember that I'm terrified of them.
Yeah, I remember. She used to have to like hide in another room whenever I used, not even like just not stand in front of the microwave. It was like full on run into another room. I used to put the microwave on just to freak them out. And they'd like be like, "Look, what are you doing? You're gonna kill me!" It was hilarious, but also like now that I'm older, I realize it was kind of a cruel thing to do for someone.
That's okay. I forgive you. It's fine. I mean, it's a stupid fear, but it's only gotten worse with age.
I think yeah, I think now that I like understand properly, like what the fear was, I'm like, okay, that wasn't really a funny thing to do.
Yeah, it's
But
okay. It's all forgotten. Water under the bridge. But anyway, moving on from that, what I do is I'll foam up the regular almond milk, not the barista one, with the frother, and it won't froth up too much, but it gets hot, and then I put Nesquik in there, and it makes like an almond chocolate hot milk, and I don't have to use any extra pots, and it's amazing.
yeah, that's always the benefit of like how few Delfer cutlery can you use in a process. I got recently, I got one of those microwavable things for making pasta and rice, even though I have a pot. Because I was like, this is easier to clean than like cleaning out a whole pot. It's just like a plastic, thing with a lid. And then also it means that I could be making something in the pot while something's microwaving, because I only own one pot. So I don't have to be like making pasta and making sauce like separately or something like that. But it was mostly just so I could put things in the microwave and leave them, because I'm not supposed to leave. I tell you, I left chips in the oven for 4 hours the other day.
Oh my God, Megan.
It's the only time I have ever forgotten food ever in my entire life. Not just like ever living on my own. Ever in my entire life forgot it was food in the oven for that long. To be fair though, usually my mother shouts, "Someone else got the oven on!" when I'm at home. No one shouted at me this time.
Maybe somebody should have shouted at you.
I know. I literally was lying in bed and I was like, oh, I gotta start thinking about making dinner. I was like, oh shit, I went to reheat my fries like 4
Were there
hours
like
ago.
smoke coming out of them and stuff?
No, that was the thing. Like, I was like, why didn't the alarm go off? Maybe someone walked in and like turned the oven off or something. But no, the oven was still going. They could just like, they're actually quite heavy. Do you know the way usually when you burn something, or like chips at least for me, they seem to get lighter. But
Yeah.
like they were like really heavy. It was weird. But I think it might have been because they were chips. They just like, they burn within themselves. They don't like, smoke. I don't know. But
makes sense.
At least I didn't cause another fire drill.
At least that much. But did I tell you about the multi-cooker? I think I did, that we got. I didn't.
No.
Not ages ago, but a little while ago, we ordered this multi-cooker thing, and we got it because I was looking at rice cookers because I started eating just loads of rice because it's just so handy. But we found this multi-cooker thing, and it's like a rice cooker, a slow cooker, a pressure cooker. It does like browning, and there's a baby food setting. I don't know why I would need to use that. I don't have any children. I should try it.
Well, baby food and puree are the exact same thing.
Yeah, if you want baby food grown up, you put salt in it.
Yeah, you put extra sugar or extra salt in it if you're a grown up. But like, yeah, you should just. I mean, my aunt for some reason got a really good deal on a bunch of baby food once. She didn't even have a baby. Her kids are older than me and my brother. It's when we were staying with them, and I don't know why, but it was great because we just had apples and pears and like, nice pureed veg for a while. It was weird. Ever since I've had baby cousins, there's like certain baby food things that I'm like, these are not just for babies. Make bigger portions, god damn it.
I mean, I did have a baby food phase, but that was in a completely unrelated setting. So, but I haven't used the baby food setting, but maybe I will, just to make like a puree type thing. But I have developed the perfect one pot pasta recipe, and I also made mac and cheese in there, and it's so great because just everything is in there. You don't have to use any extra stuff. And like, I used to always make baked rice as well. I mean, I still make it, but now I make it in the cooker, because before I would fry the onions separately and then add the rice to like heat up a bit and then put it in the oven. Now I just do it all in the cooker. They should get me to advertise this cooker. Who is it from? Beko, I think, or Tefal? It's from one of those companies.
Tefal. Sounds familiar.
In one of those companies, anyway. They should sponsor this podcast. So
we got an email actually on the Coffee and Catch Up account about something. I didn't read it. I thought it was a scam. I think everything's a scam, to be fair, though.
You know what? Most things are scams, and I haven't seen this, and I'm going to open this email right now.
It's weird, though, because scams are usually on Instagram or in the comments of videos.
You'd think so, but I get so many emails on my my YouTube email, which are just like, "Oh, please, we want to give you so much money. Please, email us. Please,
See,
we'll
I
give
don't
you money."
understand the YouTube email thing because, like, I would presume it's like a business email. I would presume it's not just available to everyone. You have to have a specific type of YouTube account to be able to see people's emails, or is it just constantly visible?
Well, no, I made a separate email for YouTube, and I have it in my descriptions. So it's like
Okay.
in case there is an ever like genuine business thing, which there has been. There's been a lot of things that I've been like, nope. And then a couple of things where they would ask me like rates and stuff, and I would tell them, and they'd be like, nope. So, but I'm still waiting for my Adam and Eve sponsorship. Thank you very much.
Yeah, goddamn it, Adam and Eve. Get
At
on
this
that.
point, I'm like, come on, guys. I'm gonna just start like emailing them, which I feel like I should have done that by now, but I didn't.
I know Adam and Eve is just like the sponsor for drama channels.
Yes.
I mean, kind of unrelated, but we're
You'd think, but there's a lot of drama that has to do with fucking. So, like, kind of related. I
I
don't know.
suppose.
Although I just think that they should sponsor me. That's all. If they don't sponsor me, I'm gonna find another sex shop that will. Just
Yeah,
some
take
really
that, Adam
random
and Eve.
sketchy one that are like the stuff doesn't work. Somebody's gotten like electrocuted from one.
Or like at the end of your video, you have to put in a disclaimer being like, if you get scammed or killed by said project, you cannot hold me liable in any. You know, those like 10 times speed
Yes.
warnings at the end of videos? Yeah, you just have one of those.
Well, like, I was actually on the, I know this is not what the episode is about, but whatever, let's just chat today. I was talking to somebody the other day who was like, kind of telling me, you know, how people get sponsors and how they do that. And I was like, I don't really understand. Like, am I too small for sponsors? Like, is this something I'm supposed to go looking for? Are they supposed to look for me? I don't understand. And she was saying like, yeah, no, you could definitely get them at your size, but you need to be like emailing people. And I was like,
Yeah, that's what people usually have business managers for. Do all that shit for you.
I have also had people emailing me asking to be my business manager. I'm like,
But
could you
like,
not?
the thing I never quite understood about business managers or about like parent companies, you know, for YouTubers and such is like, obviously if you're as big as like well, PewDiePie's a ridiculous name to throw out there because he's the biggest YouTuber. But, you know, if you're like, the only ones I can think of are controversial, so I don't want to name them. But, you know, if you're like amongst the big YouTubers who've got other things, who maybe have companies of their own that they've built off their brand kind of thing, then, yeah, I suppose having a business manager to manage your sponsorships and stuff makes sense. But when you're like one vlogger or one DIY or one drama channel or, you know, something like that, then I kind of don't understand having a parent company or a manager, because like usually they have the same like 3 or 4 sponsorships rotating. You know, they've got like Hello Fresh and Honey and, you know, like yeah, Skillshare, you know, maybe those 3, and they rotate through them. So, you know, once those are set up, that was the point of a business manager. They're set up. You know, like your rates are probably set at that point, what you say, what they want, all set. And yet your business manager is getting like whatever percentage of your income off of like a contract that really probably only needed to be signed once, you know, like the rates or whatever don't need to be renegotiated probably, and like all of this. And obviously it might help to have someone to like get you the sponsorships to begin with, but I feel like there are some people who like, as soon as people start offering them like, oh, do you want to join our like parent company, or do you want to like, I can be your manager, they're like, oh my god, yeah, I've made it, and they don't realize that like you're wasting X percentage of your income on someone you really don't need.
No, but like I've researched this because I did have emails from people, and it was fishy from the beginning because I'm not a big channel, and they were emailing me from like when I had like 20,000 and stuff. And so I've looked into it, and what these companies do is they will find as many people as they possibly can to like manage, quote unquote, but they don't do anything. Like they do not provide you anything, but they do take a percentage of your income. So it doesn't matter to them if you have 1,000 subscribers and you're not going to be able to get any sponsors, because even if they make 20 cents from every video you put out, they're making 20 cents from everybody's video, and they're making €5 here and €50 here and like 2,000 here. So they just don't do anything, and they just take money, and then you're stuck in this contract. It's like not worth it at all.
Yeah. But like even the legitimate companies and the legitimate managers, I feel like a lot of time people, like unless you're seriously too busy to organize all of that yourself, like you'd probably be better off paying a lawyer once off to look over the contract than like consistently paying a business manager a certain percentage of your income for what was, for what could have been a one-time service that, you're like, I just feel like a lot of channels maybe don't need them. Obviously, if you've got more business dealings and you're way too busy to handle, your YouTube income kind of thing, then it makes sense. Plus, there's also that whole issue of like a lot of obviously not business managers or channel managers or whatever, that's different. But a lot of people who sign up to like parent channels, like what was that one that Clever TV and Ryland Adams and all of them were signed up to, I think Smosh were as well, all of them were signed up to it. When the company went bankrupt, all of those people, their like final paychecks were still in the company. They never got them, I don't think. And their channels were like kind of still held by the company, but the company was in bankrupt, so they weren't sure if they owned their channels, because technically the company owned their channels. And like, all of this stuff, like they weren't sure what was happening because all their paychecks went through the company, they didn't come to them, and like all of this stuff was happening. And it's like crazy. It's like you're putting your entire job in someone else's hand, which is fine when you work for a company in a role and you have like a proper contract for, if the company goes bankrupt, they still have to pay you, X amount of money, or they still have to do this and that. But when it's something like YouTube, where the laws don't really exist, as an employer and employee kind of thing, they're like made up between individual groups, you really get taken advantage of if something happens and someone else has a stake in your channel.
Yeah, no, it's scary. And I know like it, as well as that, it happens in, who is it, Emma Blackery? Do you know her? I used to watch her a bit. She's a British vlogger, but she does music and stuff as well. And she put out this video because she wasn't on YouTube for ages. I don't really know why. I don't keep up with her anymore. But she came back and she made this video talking about how basically she had this manager for her music stuff, and he just completely ruined her. Like, basically got her to spend loads of money on projects that never went anywhere, and he was just useless. So it's scary, the things that could happen. Like, I don't know. I don't think I would ever want a manager of any kind. Like, even if I had like millions of subscribers, I would still do as much as I could myself, and then maybe outsource roles if I had loads of things going on, like extra stuff,
Yeah, like I feel like managers make sense in certain industries, like obviously they help actors get casting calls, and they help you find out about different things if you're in field or whatever. But I feel like when it comes to YouTube, if you watch YouTube videos, what companies sponsor through, advertise through YouTube, what companies to reach out to. You don't necessarily need the connections, because your account, your subscriber count, your view count is your like portfolio of like, these are the viewers I can bring you, these are my subscribers. You don't necessarily need someone with connections to the company or whatever to get that deal, because your account like kind of speaks for itself. I feel like, it's not as integral as it is to like certain other professions. And I feel like if you had like a personal assistant or something to draft the emails, like if you're a busier person, then like that would be fine, because at least a personal assistant doesn't have a stake in, they don't earn X% of your income. They earn whatever set rate you like, it's kind of different sort of thing. But Yeah, I don't know.
Well, the advice that was given to me was just to like write down a list of companies that I would want to work with and just like email them, tell them all my analytics and stuff. And then I get like worried because like I was thinking of, okay, which companies do I actually like? Who do I want to work with? And I had a list of things. And I was like, do I send this, or are they going to be like, no, you're too small and we're not going to want to work with you? And then it's kind of ruining my chances for future things if my channel does grow. It's very confusing.
See, I think that's the thing, though, you need to consider from their point of view. How many emails like that do you think they get? They probably get loads from way smaller channels who never stand a chance, or like really crappily formatted emails, or people emailing being like, yo, I want a sponsor. Hit
Mm.
me up, dog.
I should
Sincerely
email Adam
yours.
and Eve like that.
But you know what I mean? Like the amount of emails they probably get, if there's one that they get that's like, hey, it's a decent email, but this person just doesn't have the numbers we're looking for yet.
Mhm.
Probably, like, no offense, they'll probably forget you ever existed
No, but that's
until
good.
you. Yeah, but that's what you want. Like, you
Yeah.
want if you're not what they're looking for, you want them to forget that you existed, or put you on like a short list of
Mhm.
like, if we've got room for more sponsors, because I'm sure some companies have like a quota of how many sponsorships or how much money they can spend on YouTube advertising, and if they've reached that quota, they might have like a list of like, oh, if so and so gets cancelled this month, I'll get that Zad one on it instead, because she'll be doing a video about how they got cancelled this month. It's great. Works out well for us.
Yeah. I mean, like, I actually, okay, I don't know if I should say names of companies and stuff, but I kind of worked myself up as like, okay, I'm going to email some companies. And the first one I had in mind that I wanted to email, not the first one of the first ones I had in mind was Function of Beauty. And
Oh,
so I had uploaded a video. My last video before this was a video about Dissociated, I think. And then, like the next day, Dissociated uploaded a video that was sponsored by Function of Beauty, and I was like, "Fuck, they're gonna
God
say
damn
no."
it.
Yeah. So it
I'm
doesn't
sure
help
they
us.
don't.
Hmm?
I'm sure they don't pick sides in rivalries though, because it's advertising. They don't care.
True. Yeah, I didn't think that. I kind of was thinking of it like maybe they're gonna think, well, that's bad because they've sponsored somebody who is in drama. But then, like, then nobody
No,
would
I
ever
feel
sponsor
like
James Charles.
I feel like the only reason they'd had issue is if you made a video calling out all of these companies for sponsoring problematic YouTubers. You know what I mean? If you made like Function of Beauty needs to be cancelled for sponsoring Dissociate, if you made a video like that, then yeah, you ain't getting a Function of Beauty sponsorship. But you know, there was this woman I heard of on YouTube who like rose up pretty quickly, um, doing videos on um, like the wastage and the environmental impact of sponsorship deals, and of the way like makeup gurus get like
PR kits and
launched
stuff.
PR kits. That's it. But like
Mhm.
I don't want to say this, but it's the video I've seen of Jeffree Star, like noting how when a foundation line comes out, he gets the entire foundation line, even though like the first color is his color. He gets the entire foundation. You know what I mean? Like they get
Yeah.
things like that. So she did all these videos about like how it's wasteful, how it's unenvironmentally friendly, how much packaging goes into it, how much shipping goes into it, and how a lot of these people throw this stuff out. And I don't think she was giving out to beauty gurus for like throwing out unused makeup. She was giving out to the companies. She was like, this is excessive and unnecessary. You're just doing this to show off. It's not helping anyone. It's not even really helping your products, because these beauty gurus maybe only show one PR package every other week, and they're
Mhm.
getting they're being sent 10 or 20 every week kind of thing. you
Mhm.
know you know so they made this whole YouTube career, like the whole YouTube career started on this. And then they started getting sent PR packages and doing PR unboxing videos. Literally the entire
Oh my God.
they literally did not care. People were like, oh, they obviously just started this channel to get famous. They picked like a controversial topic that not
Mm.
enough people were talking about,
Hmm.
and then they built their fan base out of that, their subscriber count out of that, and then they just started doing what every other basic YouTuber does, and like turning their back on all the things that they'd like originally been complaining about and stuff. And I was like,
that is so
I
shitty.
mean, bad.
You know what they should do? Like all the big influencers and beauty gurus who get all this stuff, they should all like band together. There should be one like organization that takes donations of like unused makeup and stuff. Because like if you're poor or you're homeless or you're low income or something, like makeup is not an essential, but it's stuff that people like that make them feel nicer, and it's going around anyway, like it's getting thrown out. You might as well give it to somebody who gets some use out of it and be like, I have this nice thing that I didn't have to spend 3 months salary on.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to say this, but this is the only example I know of. I am sure there are other. But Jeffree Star, in the video, he was complaining that he had like an entire 50 shade line and he only needed the one freaking shade. And he didn't even end up reviewing the thing on camera, so it's completely useless. He was like, yeah, all of this extra PR I get. I think it was a video with Shane Dawson where they are like decluttering his house or something. But he was saying all the unused PR he gets, they gives to his like assistants and like his staff and his family, or he gives it to women's shelters because they do, and they are useful for people like when people are applying for jobs and stuff. Obviously the clothes and the makeup, the more put together they look, the more likely they are to get a job, because we are horrific people.
I mean, that's better than just throwing it away. So, oh my God, Jeffree Star did a good thing.
Again, do not want to promote Jeffree Star. I'm sure there are other people who do this. I'm just not in the guru sphere. I'm sure James Charles maybe does things like that. I don't know. Are we starting James Charles anymore? I don't think we are.
He sent nudes to a minor recently.
Yeah, no, we don't. Again, those... Not promoting these people. I just literally only know problematic beauty gurus. Also, I want to point out, I watched that Jeffree Star video before we had cancelled Jeffree Star.
Fair. I think the only unproblematic beauty guru that I can think of is Nikki Tutorials. It's the only one.
We stand Nikki.
Love Nikki. Nikki got some good looks. Also, hooded eyelids, so that's very helpful for me. So... Although, did you notice my slight stint of I'm going to try and be a beauty guru now? Except I didn't do beauty guru stuff. I did weird, nobody would ever actually wear this makeup, but I'm having fun.
I feel like that's what most of the beauty gurus do, though. They're like, and 3 hours later, I am Met Gala ready. I'm like, who the fuck's going to the Met Gala? We're in quarantine.
But also they look glam. Like mine was just weird. Like I don't know if you saw it. It got like no views, which was quite sad because I put a fair amount of work into it. Like I think by the next day it had 500 views, and I don't want to complain because I know that's a lot, but for my channel it's not. So, but I did that and it was like glitter tears and like just messy, not glam at all. But I had all these ideas of makeup stuff I wanted to do. I was planning to do St. Patrick's Day glam, but then that just didn't happen because I was really tired. And but I've had these ideas. I wanted to do like Jacksepticeye inspired makeup. Like I have the whole look planned out in my head. I just have to get around to doing it, and I want to practice the little Septic Sam on my arm or something before I try and do it on my face. Because that could go horribly wrong, and I would like it to look somewhat nice.
You would not like to end up with an actual septic eye.
Yes. But do like a PewDiePie inspired one, because he has like the wavy lines, and I was going to put that on my eye. Like all these different ones. I had an idea to do like an Anthony Padilla one, which would just be glitchy. So it'd be fun.
No, you should do that though. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, I would like it. I mean, nobody watches.
And I know you've been trying to like mix up your channel a bit.
Yeah, it's just confusing because I try and mix in too many things, and then everyone's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? But no, it's fine. I'm just having fun with it. Today's video that is going to go up sometime after me and you finish recording right now is a BPD one. And then I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have a plan. Tomorrow I'll do something else.
You know what we were supposed to be doing? Talking about school.
This is clearly school.
We've gone on the worst tangent ever, to the point where we've spent an hour discussing absolutely nothing on topic.
We haven't even touched on the topic.
Nope. So we've got like 5 minutes left. No, I'm kidding.
That's fine. Okay, let's do school. Well, I have a lot of deadlines coming up. and I hate
Do
it. And
tell.
they came out of nowhere like a fucking bus.
Yeah, they always
Like,
do.
yeah.
You can write them on every surface in your house, and you'll still be like, "Wait, that's due tomorrow? No bitch told me." And it's like, literally, you have the 18th written all over your wall. It's like, bitch, you think I read my wall? It's me every time something's due. Someone's like, Megan, you've got it written down in like 10 different places in your journal, on your arm, and on your pin board. And I'm like, she still should have told me it was due tomorrow.
And like, oh my, this week is gonna drive me insane because I have. So do you remember how much I stressed about my psychology essay last semester?
Mm-hmm.
I had it done a little bit early, which is great. We have not started this one yet. It is due on Friday. And
Next Friday? I have an essay due next Friday too.
nice deadline time for everybody. And then on Monday I have a it's like a learning journal. It's not too hard, but it's still like I have to put some effort into it. Like it's a couple of hours of work at least. And then between Monday and Friday, it has open for me to do it anytime, but I need to get it out of the way so I can focus on my essay. I have a multiple choice quiz, which is worth 40% of my grade for criminology. And yeah, I haven't studied yet.
Yeah, I failed a 40% quiz once. Flat out failed it.
Oh no.
It's a great time.
Oh,
It
no.
was a 40 or 20. I don't know. Either way, I failed like a significant portion of my class once. It was even worse because the rest of the percentage was another test. It was all, yeah, that was it. I failed a 20%, flat out failed it. So I got a 0 on that. And then the other 80% was the end of year exam.
Oh no.
There was no essay redemption where I was bound to get at least, a pity percentage. Flat out, like yes or no, you are going to pass or you're going to fail. Which, funnily enough, was in forensic anthropology, which is what I now study in my master's program.
Oh
I
dear.
didn't think this through.
That's fine. Tests are not indicative of your actual knowledge, I don't think. So it's fine. But like, oh God. It's the thing is, I know exactly what I have to study for the quiz because they told us it's everything that's in the lecture slides from week 1 to week 6. There's nothing extra. But it's just memory is not my strong point. Like, and I had this whole plan. I was gonna write out like a whole big cheat sheet for every week, and I was gonna like study it real hard. And now I'm realizing that deadlines are approaching very fast, and I also have an essay to focus on. I really don't have time to be writing out beautiful cheat sheets for 6 weeks of criminology. So it's just gonna be like, I cry.
You always go into things with like the best of intentions, and then like life just creeps in and everything just gets pushed back until you can't do it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think it's going to be fine. And I think part of the problem is as well, some of my essays from last semester, I left until the last day to write them, but I still got quite high grades. So I think somewhere in the back of my mind, I was like, oh yeah, it's fine. I can leave it until the last minute, but I can't, and I shouldn't do that. That was the first semester. It's online and they're being very lenient.
Yeah, that's always the issue is like if you do well in something you thought you were going to do bad in and that you rushed, you then have the expectation of like, I don't have to try as hard.
Yeah,
It's a
which
bad mindset to be in.
Was my problem the entire time I was in secondary school because I got quite high grades and stuff from the get-go, but I just did. But then as things got harder, I paid less and less attention, and then I had to review my leaving cert the other day because I applied for this to be like a research assistant. It's part of the college's experiential learning thing. And I had to put in my leaving cert grades, which was quite annoying because my leaving cert was in 2015. So it is very much not a good show of where I am today. And Megan, they're awful. My grades are awful.
You did better than me. I remember you did better than me.
I got a D in English, a D in chemistry, a D in art.
I failed chemistry. I failed chemistry in 5th year and dropped out, and now I am a science student. I legitimately did not take science for the leaving cert, and I'm now doing a science master's. Who let me be here?
It's fine. This is a very specific science. It's all good.
Yeah. Funnily enough, the class I slept through, geography, legitimately slept through most of that class. Ended up getting counted as one of my 6 subjects because something else I had properly studied was not up to snuff. Don't know how that happened.
That's so
but it makes me grateful that I took 8 subjects.
Oh god, yeah, I only took 7, but like
It's still better to have at least one fallback. I don't understand the people who take 6 subjects. I'm like, legitimately, that's so many. You get like maybe 3 free hours a week. You know, like school being 9 to 3:30 or whatever it was. I was doing one of my subjects outside of school. I was doing history outside of school because it clashed with French. No, sorry, I was doing French outside of school because it clashed with history. So I was technically like in my school day doing 7 subjects, and I thought I had too many hours free because we all had 1 hour free because that's just how our timetable worked out. And then I had that hour when something was supposed to be on. I think it was whatever way our subjects were grouped. I ended up not taking one of the groups, so I had that hour free. And it was like I had 3 hours a week free or something. So like if you're only taking 6 subjects, how many hours free do you have in the week, like of the school day? It's like it's not. I would have rathered be taking a subject even if I didn't sit the exam, just because I legitimately had too many hours free. And funnily enough, I now have like 1 class a day, so and I can't do it. So I don't know. I don't know what happened there.
It's a different time. I mean, from what I remember, I don't really remember properly. I think we had like, depending on your subjects, some days you would not have the last class, from what I remember. And Wednesday for everybody was a half day. So you finish at like, I think 12:30 or something. Don't really remember. What I do remember though, because you said about geography. So I was taking like grinds, like extra classes in chemistry. Don't remember any of it. I do remember the person who was giving me the grinds though. She always made me very nice tea. But I got a D in that. And then somehow, even though I spent all of the classes not paying attention, I think I didn't go to most of them because they were in the morning, and you could get it if you didn't show up by the 3rd class, you'd get a text home if you hadn't like registered as being late. But as long as you showed up before the 3rd class, you wouldn't get any text. So I would never go to the first 2 classes. Obviously. And maths is always in the morning, so I wouldn't go. And I would never do homework either. But I got a B in maths.
At higher level or ordinary level?
I think it was at higher level.
I hate you.
I'm not sure. I need to check. I took ordinary something, but I don't remember if it was maths or something else. I think it was higher level.
I took ordinary maths and ordinary French, but I needed French to get into college. It was one of my prerequisites, is that you had to have a foreign language, which is stupid because I've never used French in college. The only university that would let me study archaeology if I had failed French was Sligo.
You're not going to Sligo. No.
My mom literally, she was like, I legitimately, because like I'd had a French grinds teacher since before the junior cert because I'd been struggling with it. And I'd failed the junior cert, flat out failed French in the junior cert. So like we were really concerned. And then I also wasn't taking French in school because part of my issue was also with the teacher and it was clashing with history. So my mom was like, we can either pay for you to take French grinds, you know, you can either take French in school and we can pay for the French grinds that we're already paying for and pay for history grinds so that you could sit the history test, or you can take history in school and we can just double down on the French grinds that you're taking. And then also because I'm having one-on-one classes, I wouldn't even need to meet the same hours as everyone else in school was meeting because that's a class of like 25 to 1 teacher kind of thing. So, you know, we decided to go with that, yada, yada. And then like, I can't remember what my point was. What was my point? Yeah, so I took it at ordinary level because I had to pass. They were like, there's no way you're going to pass at higher level. I got a B though, at ordinary level. So go
Could you have taken foundation? Would they have accepted that or no?
I think they would have, but I think they were like, by the time, you know, the mocks and stuff came around, I was doing all right in ordinary level, that they were like, we're not worried that you're going to fail it at this point. Like legitimately the end of fourth year, when I was going into fifth year and I kind of had to start thinking about these things, they were concerned I was going to fail at ordinary level. A very bad meeting with one of my guidance teachers. Not bad in like that she was giving out to me, but just bad that in the sense that like she was having a hard talk with us about like the realities of how I was going to be doing in the exam, which was like a talk we needed to have, but it was also like soul crushing because I thought I was such an idiot. Like I couldn't, you know, like why can't I get this? I'm so stupid, yada yada, all of this stuff. And in retrospect, it was probably my dyslexia because the last like 3 letters of French words are not pronounced. Yeah. And most of my spelling is based on pronunciation. So
that would be an issue. I can understand why that would cause some problems.
But, you know, like I had not excuses, but I had reasons why I might struggle with French, but it's still kind of soul crushing. But, you know, we needed to have that discussion. But yeah. And then I took ordinary level maths because I was failing at higher level. And we were already taking 1 hour extra a week to do like maths classes after school with the teacher. Because she was like, you're not going to finish the course on time. So we're doing 1 hour extra. And then she wanted to add a second hour. And I was like, look, I am already failing. I am not spending 2 extra hours a week here in school focusing on a subject I'm already failing. You know, on all of this. So I went down to ordinary level instead. And it is so, the Irish school system, especially when it comes to maths, is broken. Because I don't know a single person, or I don't know a single school that didn't have to hold extra lessons for higher level maths because it is impossible to finish the course in the time frame they give you. Everyone I know had to take extra maths lessons to finish the course on time. And then when you drop down from higher level to ordinary level, you go from failing, getting 15% in exams, trying your hardest. And in an ordinary level, you're smart enough to teach the class. I used to help tutor the other people in my class during class. You know, like if they were, you know, if it came to something we were doing and they were struggling, like I would have finished all of my questions, you know, I would have finished question 1 to 20 already. And if they were struggling over in the corner, I'd be helping them. And I'm like, that is a broken system. You should not be failing one class and helping to teach another. It should not be how the math system works in our country.
That makes no sense at all.
It also concerns me as to what the hell foundation level maths was.
If it's the same level of jump, do I know somebody who did foundation? I think one of my friends did foundation, but she wasn't taking the classes. She just on the day decided to take the foundation exam and she passed it. I don't
know any schools that actually teach foundation on purpose.
On purpose.
Or you know what I mean? Like, because usually foundation is just like a narrower version of the ordinary or higher level course load. So like you wouldn't, you know, like I know like even our English maths was the only thing that was divided into higher and ordinary level for us. Every other class, it was just if you told the teacher that you wanted to do ordinary level, they told you what aspects of the course you should be focusing on. Like in English, they were like, okay, well, this and this you don't have to do because that's not going to be on your test. So you can just focus on the other things kind of thing. So are there actually like foundation level classes?
I'm trying to remember because from what I remember, ordinary and higher level maths are completely different courses because I was in higher level and then I dropped down to ordinary level and then I went back to higher level and it was completely different. I think foundation level is the same as, like it's the same course as ordinary, but the questions are just different. I think. It's been a while.
That's like how it is between ordinary and higher level for most other subjects. It's just like, let's say for English higher level, you have to study 6 poets. For English ordinary level, you only have to study 3. Or like for French higher level, you have to be able to read 2 essays and answer questions. Then for French ordinary level, it's 2 essays, but they're easier essays, like they're made for younger kids kind of thing, and then the questions are easier as well, like things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which totally doesn't make you feel dumb when you're reading children's stories. You know what French children would be reading, kind of thing.
Oh God. Well, like I was really, really bad in German. Like I don't know what it is. I don't know what my problem is with languages, but I just can't pick them up. Like I know you said you had like an auditory thing, and it's not that for me because I'm very auditory in my learning, but something in my brain does not retain languages. I don't know what that is. But I was so bad in German. But I don't know if you know this, because when I did college the first time, I was doing music tech, business, and critical skills. I was taking 2 modules of business, and I didn't like critical skills because I realized I was going to have to write essays, and all my other subjects didn't require essays. So I was like, I'm just going to leave critical skills and I'm going to do German. And I had to promise the professor, because it was a small class, oh yeah, I'll work really hard. It's fine. It'll be all good. I can't speak German. And I went into the class and all these people could speak German.
Yeah.
Like they were having conversations and I was like, I think they just thought I was shy, but in reality, I'm like, I have no idea how to say anything. It was bad. It was really bad. I don't know what drove me to do that. And the thing is, I could have taken psychology. I wanted to take psychology. I don't know why I didn't.
Yeah. That's like I'm bad with languages too. See, no, that's the thing. I'm not sure if I'm bad with languages or I was just scarred by how bad I was at French that I'm too afraid to learn, like to try learning other languages. Because like I didn't even try learning Czech when I was living in Czech Republic. Like I knew enough to get by buying groceries, in a sense that like I knew enough how to interact with a teller or like a cashier when I'm buying groceries. Like I could say like, good morning, thank you, goodbye. Literally that's all I could say in Czech. And like I feel bad about that. I'm like, I should at least know how to swear in Czech. If you live in another country for a year, you should learn how to swear in their language. But like also, I'm like, okay, well, I didn't put a lot of study into trying to learn Czech. So that probably didn't help. I didn't take any language classes or anything. But I'm like, am I bad at learning languages? Or was I just scarred by French? Because I grew up speaking 2 languages. I grew up speaking English and Irish. So like technically speaking, my brain should be better wired to, because they say when kids grow up bilingual, then they're more likely to be able to pick up other languages because their brains are wired for it, kind of thing. So I'm like, I feel like I should, but I can't. And am I just stopping myself from doing it, or can I really not do it?
See, that you say it, I'm thinking about this because, okay, so I grew up with English and Irish as well. So it was the same for me and you, but maybe it's because when we learned these languages, we learned it the way that you learn a language, from like speaking it and hearing it. And then the way you learn languages in school is like reading and writing and not actually having conversations. So maybe that's the issue, because like I tried to learn Dutch for ages. I've kind of taken a pause. I want to start it again. I had like 4,000 XP on Duolingo in Dutch. I had like a textbook and stuff. Yeah. And like I was trying to practice writing stuff like you do at school, but it just wasn't like sticking. Like I could do all the Duolingo stuff, I could pass those, I could figure out how to write something down, but if it came to me like actually having to talk to somebody, I wouldn't have a clue. I'd be like, I'd know how to say I'm a banana because of Duolingo.
And like arguably the oral aspect of like a foreign language is more important than being able to read or write in a foreign language, because if you visit another country, you're more likely that you're going to need to like that you want to speak to someone, not that you'll want to be able to read a signpost or something.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's something like, even if you're having some kind of like in school, there would be a conversational aspect to it. But like we didn't learn like, oh, we're going to have a conversation, let's just practice chatting. It was like, here's the topics they're going to ask you about. Here's how to drive that conversation. Let's practice
Yeah.
our answers. Oh, I worked as a babysitter. Oh, I'm taking these subjects in school. It wasn't like there was never any real practice, which is when you actually have to think about the language because you're like, oh shit, how do I say that? I haven't practiced this. Let me figure it out. So maybe that's it.
Yeah. Because do you speak Macedonian? I presume you do.
Yeah, enough. Not great. Like,
Yeah.
I've never been great.
But like, that's 3 languages that you have. So like, presumably you're better adapted to learning a language. It might just be that you're not good at learning it in an academic setting. You're better at learning it in like a practical setting.
It could be that. See, it could be the same thing for you as well, though, because you did like
Yeah.
speaking it is a completely different thing.
Yeah, and I suppose also my issue is like I get shy as well. So, and like part of my shyness comes from like I don't want to make myself seem stupid. So obviously I'm not going to speak a foreign language I don't speak well to another person because that's going to make me seem very stupid because I'm not good at your language. So I'm just going to speak in my language instead and be that stupid American stereotype of I'm not going to learn your language, you learn mine. I'm not American, but you know what I mean? Like that stereotype of like American tourists kind of thing. But yeah. No, but I remember people saying, friends of mine from secondary school who went on to do foreign languages in college, saying it is a completely different thing because you're learning more like the academic way of learning a language. And they were also saying like it was crazy because they had oral exams but they never had oral sessions in classes. You had to join the societies. You had to join like the Hispanic Society or the German Society or whatever and go to one of their coffee mornings. Like you had to do it extracurricularly kind of thing, which I'm like, that's kind of stupid. Why assess on something you're not teaching?
I mean, the thing is, I really, really want to be able to speak Dutch. Like, I love the language. I think it's great. It's helpful that I already knew a little bit of German because they're not the same, but there are some similarities. But like, I think the only way I would ever really learn it is having somebody to talk to. But then, like, I don't want to find some like rando on the internet. Like, what if I find a serial killer or a stalker? You know what I mean? It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
I only kind of ish know people who speak Dutch, and like I don't know them enough to be like, hey, can we chat in Dutch? Like it's weird. So I don't know what to do.
Yeah. The only language I was any good at other than English and Irish was Latin. So there's definitely no one left alive for me to speak to.
Of course, of all the languages, it's the dead one that you can speak.
We did it in 4th year in transition year in school, and I was like pretty good at it. Obviously, like it was just writing it. We weren't speaking it. But funnily enough, it actually kind of helped me with my French that year because you know the way like a lot of languages are connected, like you were saying, like German and Dutch, there's some similarities. It's like there's a lot of similarities between English and Latin, and then there's some similarities between Latin and French, and I'm sure there's some similarities between English and French, but like my brain couldn't see them. But when I had that stepping stone in the middle of like Latin is closer, then that was like helping me to like bridge the divide. But then I stopped doing Latin. Well, the school didn't teach it beyond 4th year. So then like all of that just fell away.
Do you think that you were good at Latin because it wasn't an exam year and there was no actual pressure to learn it?
Yeah. Also probably because I had an interest in archaeology and classics and stuff. So I was like, oh, this is so cool. I'm learning a dead language. This is great. I know what dog is. I literally don't remember any of it at this point. But yeah, I literally still have the book at home. I'm pretty sure I was supposed to give that back to the school.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's mine now. They don't teach Latin anyway, so I don't know why they need it back.
I did watch a video on the origins of English. And it's widely believed that English is more of a Germanic language, but it has some Romance influences. So like French and Latin are Romance languages, and then Germanic is like clearly the Germanic ones. And then you have like the Gaelic ones, which are completely different, off in their own little world. But yeah, so English is actually
make very
closer
little sense.
to Yeah, English would be closer to German than to French, and then French and German are not even remotely
Yeah,
similar.
no.
So this might have been somewhat of the
Yeah.
issue.
I love how German words are just, we're going to string together a bunch of descriptors until it makes sense.
Yes. You know what the other thing is with Dutch? Because like, okay, German, you've heard German spoken. It's like it sounds very harsh, it's very long words, but the pronunciation is quite normal. Like it doesn't sound anything
Yeah.
too off. Dutch, on the other hand, they have some letters that my mouth doesn't make them. The way that they pronounce S is so weird, and you wouldn't think there's another way to pronounce S, but there is. And like they have so G is pronounced like it's just like I can do it like that, but I cannot do it in the middle of a sentence because I'll start coughing. My mouth
Yeah.
doesn't do that naturally, and I don't get to practice speaking. So it's like, what do I do?
I know. Some languages are crazy. Like, I think it's Mandarin.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's a few words, or maybe a lot of words, that are similar, but their meaning is dependent on the inflection you
Yeah.
use when saying them. Because Sky, I think, was taking Mandarin as an elective in first year. And she was like, I either said mom or I flipped my professor off. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure that is Mandarin. I've heard that. That's just I couldn't do that. I couldn't.
Like, I'd really love to learn Japanese, but it's like one of the hardest languages to learn. And I'm like, I couldn't handle like one of the three easiest, like they teach it in school all the time languages. Why would I be able to handle Japanese?
You should try though, because I started doing Japanese Duolingo recently, and it's okay. I think you should do it just for like there's no pressure. You don't need to learn it. And maybe you'll find that you're really good at it and you'll be like, "Oh my God, great." It's the first on Duolingo, the first thing they teach you is like the hiragana and katakana and stuff. No, katakana and then hiragana. I forget which one's which. I need to remember.
See, like Duolingo, I know it always kind of confuses me because they don't teach you useful sentences. They teach you the most random bullshit. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but if you're teaching someone a language via sentences and then individual words, like the way Duolingo does, I would think that you would teach like useful sentences first. Like, obviously, they're teaching you the easiest things to learn, the easiest words to learn, or whatever. But I'm like, it doesn't matter if I know how to say girl, boy, bike, bakery shop, because they're the easiest words to say, because I'm never going to use them. It doesn't matter how easy they are. When am I ever going to use the word bakery shop? I need to know how to say, where's the police station? Or, something useful.
Well, to be honest, I prefer it that way. And I don't see like Duolingo as you can learn an entire language on it. It's more like a launching pad. But I kind of like that just for the fact that it's like, you're not trying to memorize sentences. You're just learning, here's some of the words, here's some vocabulary, here's how sentences are put together. Like, it's better than like, oh, here's this phrase that I have to remember. It's like, because like I said, one of the first sentences I had in the Dutch one was, I'm a banana, which clearly there's not likely going to be a situation where I'm going to have to say that. But it had me thinking, okay, well, what actually am I? Let me figure that out. So, to me, I like that better, but maybe for some people that doesn't work. So I guess it depends.
I think, yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to see. I want to see if Duolingo has Latin on it. I mean, they've got freaking Dothraki on it, so they better have.
I'm gonna check this for you. I think
they have Dothraki and High Valyrian. Last I checked on it.
They don't have Macedonian.
I know they're made up languages, but they don't have
a real language. Yeah. I'm finding this for you because I'm pretty sure that they do have Latin. But
I was looking into a master's in classical studies, and at UCD, if you do a master's in classics, you have to take classes in either Latin or ancient Greek. And I wanted to take an ancient Greek because I felt that would be more useful than Latin, just because I feel like Latin is a lot more translate. I don't know. I didn't look into it a lot, so don't take this as fact, but I felt like you'd get Latin translations easier than you'd get ancient Greek translations. And then also I'm interested in Greek stuff more than Roman stuff, and a lot of Greek poetry and things like that if you read the different translations, sometimes you can get different. Obviously, it doesn't change the meaning completely, but the sentence structure can kind of change. So I was like, maybe I'd like to read the Iliad and the Odyssey in ancient Greek instead of through someone else's interpretive translation of ancient Greek. But obviously, I don't do classics now, so that doesn't matter.
Well, I've checked and they do have Latin on Duolingo. So now's your time to shine, Megan. Get the app. It's fun.
Yeah, learn Latin.
Learn
Then
Latin.
I'm going to write all my notes in Latin so that no one can steal them when I do my dissertation.
Yes, and then you'll forget what they mean, and it's going to be a problem. You'll have to
just write my whole dissertation in Latin. Be like, guys, well, obviously I'm ancient Roman. I'm allowed to write my dissertation in my home language, and I am obviously an ancient Roman.
Clearly. I mean, obviously that is what you are. We all know this. Nobody's questioning this.
Seriously, guys, come on.
Does that mean I get to write anything I do in my alien language?
Yep.
Perfect. Like, you can't dispute this. I'm from another planet.
All symbols and gobbledygook, but it makes sense to me. God damn it.
Just writing wingdings. I would love to do that. Hey, look,
why did someone even create wingdings?
I don't know, but whenever I think of wingdings, I think of Undertale. Because they had like that weird extra lore, the creepy guy who spoke in wingdings.
Maybe it was like the prerequisite to emojis. Before we had emojis, people used to wingding.
I don't think they did. Why did they create it? Now I want to know. I never questioned this before.
I don't know. Probably someone was just like bored at the word office when they were creating their original word.
I'm finding this out. Megan, entertain the people because they need answers. Everybody's going to want answers to this when they hear this portion. Why was...
Yeah. Okay, getting back on topic. I have an essay due next Friday. It's going all right. But we've automatically got a 2-week extension due to COVID on everything. So I think I'm going to use it so that I can make my good essay. Great. But if I tell myself now that I'm going to use it, then I'm not going to study over the week. I'm not going to work on the essay, as much. So I'm going to try and have it ready for the 26th and then just like edit it and like ask my mom to proofread it and, maybe add more stuff in the additional 2 weeks so that in my brain, at least, it's ready. I want my first draft, full draft, ready by the 26th. Maybe.
Makes sense. Well, my whole thing is due on the 26th and I don't have a draft yet. So I wrote headings.
That can be handy though. I'm writing my essay completely arseways though, because when it comes to a topic like I don't fully understand or I don't know anything about, when I'm writing it, a lot of the time what I'll do is I'll read different sources. I'll read let's say the 3 different papers that I need to write this one section. And then I'll write that section. And then I'll write another section. And then I'll write another section. And then I'll just end up moving those paragraphs around until it makes sense. Instead of writing like a whole linear essay, I'll write like the sections while I'm researching that idea. So like at the moment I'm writing my essay on enthesial changes and how and if we can use them to determine physical activity. So an enthesis is where your tendons or your ligaments attach to your bones.
Okay.
So people think they can leave kind of marks on the bone, and the more they're used or they're like pulled or whatever. So people think you can use them to show that someone did this motion a lot. Because all of the, attachments in that area show that they did this motion a lot. So they were rowers because they're doing this motion a lot. So they were obviously out fishing on the kayaks because they were rowing the kayak. They think this like this. So I didn't know anything about enthesial changes. I didn't know what they could be used for. I didn't know if it was good or bad or any of this. So I was writing completely the whole essay is upside down and currently does not make sense. I just need to rearrange it. I still have 2,000 words to write and then I need to rearrange it.
It should be fine though. That kind of makes sense. I guess it depends on what kind of essay you're writing, whether you can do it That way you're not like, if it needs to flow, I guess you can't. But for this kind of thing,
yeah, because for this it doesn't really need to, because I need to have like what enthesial changes are, how they develop, how we score them, whether those scoring methods are good or bad, how we use them to determine the type of activity, how we use them to say men were doing this and women were doing this, you know, so I can write all those things separately and then like rearrange it to make sense and then like make it flow afterwards. So it's fine. But yeah, sometimes I end up having to do that in essays that have to flow better, and they're not great. They're very like jagged, but I'm like, hey, at least I got it done because I knew absolutely nothing before I started this.
I mean, as long as you got the information in there, it's fine. They can't dock you too much for a lack of flow. I mean, they can, but they won't.
Yeah, it's usually like in the rubric, it's only like 10% of the grade goes towards that.
I have a question. At what point in academia are you allowed to have an opinion? Is it after you get your PhD? Are you then allowed to have opinions?
You're always allowed to have an opinion as long as you can back it.
Well, I don't see, because I do psychology and we're not allowed to have opinions.
Oh, yeah, see, we are, because like we were talking about before we started recording, we were talking about, I had a lecture today on race and ancestry and how race doesn't exist, and ancestry is not actually a great marker for anything in osteology and like all of this. And we had an hour-long debate about like all of this stuff. And at the end of it, my teacher was like, these are my opinions on things from like the research and the knowledge that I have. But if you guys think other things, or if you guys want to like argue with me against these things, as long as, you know, you're actually making a point, you're not just arguing for the sake of arguing. She was like, that's fair, because that's part of your education, is learning how to make, how, you know, how to have your own beliefs, and, or not beliefs, but your own thoughts on certain things and your own stuff. Because like even we have an essay due later on where they've given us 2 sets of human brains and we have to write up a whole report. So we have to like sex them, age them, say what height they are, say what ethnicity they are, like all of this stuff. And she was like, I want you to say what methods you're using, because there's different methods for saying how old someone is or whatever. And she was like, I don't care what methods you use, as long as you give me a good argument as to why you're using it or why you're not using one that everyone else uses. She was like, I'm not going to dock you marks because you're using the method I hate, as long as you have a good reason for using the method I hate. So, but obviously it depends on the field, because with psychology, it's harder to prove.
Well, there is no proof in psychology.
Yeah. So obviously your opinion has to, your opinion have to be based on experience, which you don't have yet. Whereas our opinions are based on research, which is out there already, and we can, see and things.
We're allowed to like debate and stuff, and like in classes we can discuss and everything, but it's when it comes to like essays, like what we think does not matter when it comes to essays. Like, we can conclude things from the research, but it's never like, I think this or I believe this because of what I read. It's like, well, the research suggests this and that and the other. Like the essay I wrote last semester, the conclusion was basically that that post-traumatic flashbacks are they're completely different biologically, like in the brain, neurologically, than memories, and that can be shown with scanning and brain imaging and things like that. So that was a conclusion based on the research, but I can't be then saying, and I think this means this and that and the other, because I can't think anything, because I am dumb.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think there's a problem with that.
Yeah, I don't know, because we're never allowed to use the word I in essays. So I don't know if, I don't think
anybody's allowed to use I. I mean, we're allowed to use I for one specific class that I'm in, which is for international development, because the professor has said, I don't mind if you do that. So that's pretty much it. That's the only class I do. And I think I did put I in, I did a case study for that on the Netherlands, like their history of development and stuff and where they are today and stuff. And I put I in that because in my last big essay that I wrote for him, the only thing I got docked on was that he said I didn't give enough opinions. And I was like, what do you mean? So I just tried to throw in some like, I think the Netherlands is cool. I think I wrote, yeah, I had to write in that essay why I chose the Netherlands. And I was thinking about this for ages. I was like, I can't just say I think the Netherlands is cool. Like I have to give an actual reason. And I ended up writing that I thought it was interesting that you could argue that they're geographically, not geologically, geographically disadvantaged because most of their land is, not most, but like a third of their land is below sea level, and they're only protected by like dikes and stuff, and they've had to deal with flooding and draining land reclamation and stuff. And I just said something like, I think it is interesting to look at how they have developed in spite of these challenges, blah, blah, blah. Basically, I think the Netherlands is pretty rad.
Yeah, I think like we're allowed to have opinions as long as we can back our opinions with peer-reviewed and accepted research. You know, we can say like obviously we can't use the word we'd say it in a more academic setting. We'd be like, I believe this method works better than this method because X, Y, and Z, and you know, whatever. Like we're allowed to have our opinions on whether ancestry should be used or is an all relevant to skeletal remains and things like that. But we just have to, you know, back it up with evidence. Like you can find shit on everything.
Yeah.
You have to, I mean, like you can probably find academic papers that aliens exist. Like, I believe the Netherlands is home to the aliens because X, Y, and Z paper told me so.
There are, in fact, a lot of papers on aliens. You'd be surprised how many. I just want to say, though, I Googled wingdings.
Oh, yeah.
It used to be much harder to use pictures from the internet. Images were difficult to find and too large to download, and they didn't play nicely next to text. As a solution, Charles Bigelow and Chris Holmes invented wingdings to create a way to use images quickly and easily that would harmonize with text. There you go.
Why, when you said Bigelow, was the first thought that came into my head, Gigolo?
Me too. We have the same dumb brain. We share a brain cell.
Oh my God. Speaking of dumb brain, I was in a lecture this morning. My professor, so I've got a group project that was supposed to be due week 9, which is next week. But then we've got that essay due instead. So she was like, no, I'm going to move it to a different time because we've got to have a 3-hour lecture so that everyone can present, you know, every group can present their presentation. So she was like, no, we're going to move it to a different time, but she hadn't told us the time yet. Like ages ago, we had come up with our groups because we were allowed to pick our own groups. And we'd done that ages ago because she thought she was going to be able to get the date set sooner, but she hadn't. And then this morning she was like, okay, I want you to email me telling me what group you're in and what site you picked. And we were all like, what site we picked? You haven't even told us what day this damn thing is. We haven't been thinking about this at all. And then she was like, I'm still not sure, but it's tentatively set for week 10. And I was like, it's week 8. Yeah. What? What? And then I was like, oh wait, we've got 3 weeks off. Never mind. Beautiful. I said like complete heart attack. I was like, wait, we're supposed to have the site picked and it's due in 2 weeks, but you never, like last week it wasn't set. Like I kind of like missed this. What? Oh wait, we've got 3 weeks off. Yeah, you're hyperventilating for no reason. I was like, did my whole group just not inform me that the presentation's ready already?
I'm sure you weren't the only one panicking though. Although at the moment it is reading week for me, which is like, what's it called? Midterm break. Yeah. But you know, you're supposed to study.
Reading week.
Oh.
Reading week for us, I mean, at UCD used to be like week 8. So like when we have time off, so like our 3 weeks off are like technically Easter plus an extra week off because the professors have been working, or you know, the professors will be working over summer when they're not supposed to be working because we've got classes over summer. So they're like giving them a little bit of time off where they can, which is why we've got 3 weeks off. But like, you know, they don't count as weeks. Like we go from week 9, 3 weeks off, and then week 10. Whereas in UCD, week 8 used to be reading week in the sense that like if your class had a reading week, you'd have the class off. But so you might only have like that one class that whole week that just didn't do reading week. But we don't have reading week at all in master's program, which is like, dude, I'm doing more reading than I've ever done in my entire life. Give me a week off, goddammit.
The thing is, like, I completely wasted it. Like, I was saying this to you before we started recording, but I've lost a day of reading week because I was horribly hungover, which was stupid. Did not plan on getting drunk. Did not want to get hungover. Don't normally get drunk. But that's just what happened. It was Paddy's Day. Mistakes were made. And then I lost a day of study.
Paddy's Day.
How dare you? Well, with all that being said, should we maybe perhaps call this a podcast and get to working on our assignments that are looming?
Maybe.
Possibly.
Oh, God. Yeah. I mean, we went completely off tangent, but I still feel like it was a good podcast.
I feel like they're better when we go off topic.
Yeah, we spent about an hour off topic and about an hour on topic.
So it's all good in the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this and you're listening on YouTube, you can give us a like and a subscribe. If it's on any other platform, you can follow us if that option is available to you, although it should be. If you want to find us on our social medias, it's at CACU Podcast on both Twitter and Instagram. Megan's doing a little dance for us. If you're listening,
it's so
and not
awkward
watching.
when we do things.
No, I like the dance.
It's kind of weird though. My head looks like it's moving by itself. I don't know why.
It does. What is that about?
I don't know.
Well, if you want to keep up with us separately, you can find me at Vangelina Skov everywhere. Instagram, not Twitter, YouTube, Twitch.
They cancelled Twitter. Twitter's gone.
Twitter's cancelled. And you can find Megan at Megan_MCG or Megan McGrath on YouTube. And her academic Instagram is Megan of Bones, where you can see her in a lab coat.
Yeah, I had fun in the lab this week. I got to put a skeleton together. He had 3 right arms. I don't even know if it was a he.
You had 3 right arms?
No, they just gave us a box of bones and they were like, lie in anatomical position. And I had 3 right arms.
Oh. Nice.
I don't even know if they were from 3 individuals. Like, it could have been that I had like 2 ulnas and 2 radius from the same people, and then 1 ulna and 1 radius from 2 separate people. I could have had 4 people. I don't know.
Well, you had 3 right arms. That's what you do now.
Yep.
Well, thank you everybody so much for listening. Hope you're having a beautiful day, week, year, century. I'm tired.
I'm just gonna. You said let's go work on our assignments. I heard let's go cuddle up in bed and watch Orphan Black.
Same thing, clearly, because generally when you want to work on an assignment, that's what you do. This has been a podcast, and we will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye.